Hello everyone, Salim here, joining you on Wednesday, beautiful Wednesday, 1 p.m. East Coast time. I'm here in New Jersey. How's everyone doing? We are gonna kick off in a few seconds. Want to make sure you guys can hear me, see me. I'll turn my webcam on momentarily. Um, but yeah, I want to do a sound check, make sure you guys can hear me and see me and all that good stuff. Um, All right, awesome, good, wonderful. Victor, Marcel, Benny, Marcel, Mayumi, awesome, cool. If you're just joining in, just type something in to say hello. And looking forward to the next 1 hour together, because this is going to be an important roundtable. Getting you ready for an amazing tax season. I wanted this tax season, this upcoming tax season, to be the best one. And so what part of what we're going to do is talk about some strategies to help you do that. And so that it's top of mind for you as you head into tax season this week, next week, and so forth. Yeah. All right, let's get started. 2020 tax season plan, some housekeeping stuff. That I want to share with you. That's the first bullet, teaching segment on tax season. We'll go through that. And then I want you to share your wins since the last time we talked this past month, and then things you're working on, and then what do you need help with, right? So 1 hour, it's going to be fast-paced, interactive. So I want you to stay awake and engaged with me so that you get the most from our time together. So from a housekeeping standpoint, a few things. Coaching Day is going to be early May 2020. And I want to get your thoughts. If you're looking to make a modification to Coaching Day, and this is for GPG coaching members. We meet 3 times a year. As you know, in the past, we would start the group, we would have dinner, and then it would be a one intense day that starts at 7:30 a.m. and finishes at 4 p.m., right? So that's been the past. And I think what I'm going to, what I'm going to say is a good change, but I want you to give feedback. Yeah, I want your feedback on the change that we are looking to, seriously looking to make. So the change is that instead of having 2 groups separately meet each day, to combine the groups and to start a little bit earlier on one day. So day 1, we're going to start at 3 p.m. and have a session from 3 to 5 p.m. and then break for dinner. And then the next day, it's going to be the full day, right? So we are going to increase the amount of time. We'll start off instead of starting off at dinner, as we have a networking optional dinner, we'll start off at 3 p.m. and then we will have a session we'll start, coaching days will really start then at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, go till 5:30, whatever, we'll see, have dinner together, and then meet again from 8 a.m. or so till 4 p.m. and then you guys are flying out, right? So I'd love your feedback on what do you think of that. This is, for GPGs. Now my reasoning, my reasoning to do this is I find that growth-minded coaching members, they benefit a lot from the interaction as well. So I want to get all of you guys in the group, the number of coaching members are growing. So we'll have, let's say, 14 GPGs in the room, the combined group. You'll get to meet practitioners in different parts of the country and so forth. So there's going to be a lot of learning that's going to come from that interaction and that networking. And then we'll have some, the accountability, and where you come in front of the room, we're going to do breakout sessions where you're going to have smaller groups discussing their goals for, the wins and so forth. And of course, I'll be, there all the full time interacting with you and so forth. All right, so what do you think of this? Give me your quick 2 cents on what do you think, if you're for it or not for it, so that I can, make a decision in the next couple of days. Giving you guys a few more seconds. Good stuff coming in. Appreciate it. All right, let me read what came in. Victor says, great idea to combine the groups for interaction. And then Victor also says, we can also break it up into 2 days instead of one to allow more time to interact as a group. So it will be 1.5 days. So day one for you would be a travel day, and to be there by 3 p.m. in the afternoon, because that's when we are officially going to start day one, 3 p.m. In the afternoon. We'll have that one session. We'll break for dinner together, and then next day it's going to be a full day, right? So it is 2 days, Victor. Here, Brian says maybe 2 of the 3 have combined, and then 1/4 have the small group to dig deeper into individual business. All right, yep, got it. Mayumi, day 1 dinner, day 2 session, day 3 session, depends on how many people in the group. So it's going to be 15 to 20 people in the group. So kind of, work with those numbers. It's going to be 15 to 20 growth-minded practitioners coming from different parts of the country getting together. So it's what it's going to be. Then he says, I'm for it. Gives us more time to learn. Victor says, okay, cool. If you're just joining in and you kind of saw the thing, would love to hear your feedback on an important change with Coaching Day to make it better, to enhance it, right? Everything is, it has to evolve and innovate, and this is the innovation. For a few years, we've been doing the one Coaching Day thing, the 1 day format rather, for coaching days. So here we're looking to do 1.5 days and get all of the coaching members together. Awesome, great. So thanks, feedback. I mean, what I'm hearing is positive stuff. Of this is you're giving positive feedback in what I've shared here in working this. So good. Next coaching day is going to be May 5th and 6th, so Tuesday and Wednesday. So plan accordingly, and I'll have Kimberly send out an email as well with those dates. So it's going to be May 5th, Tuesday, start at 3 p.m. and then Wednesday, May 6th. So it'll be 1.5 days there, right? Cool. Wonderful. Great. Annual retreat for coaching members, if you want to put something in your calendars, it's going to be in the 3rd week in October. So this was the survey I did in the last Coaching Day, was asking you guys, hey, do we do it in June or October? And you guys said it's going, October works for you after the extension deadline. So it's going to be most likely in Florida on the beach in October. It's October, if you want to just mark it in your calendar, October 22nd, 23rd, kind of working with, it's going to be 2 days, 2.5 days, and it's going to be work and pleasure, right? Business and play. So it's going to be something I've never done before. I've attended these types of events, and they're pretty incredible. So you guys are going to have an experience of a lifetime, attending this. So this is apart from the Coaching Day, right? So anyway, all right, moving on. Cool. Let's so the Genius model, I'm not going to go much into this here, but I do want to get into preparing you guys for tax season and helping you, positioning you for having an incredible tax season. And preparing for a successful tax season, there are 3 important things that you want to pay attention to. 3 things. Number 1 is you want to have a happy clients, right? So I'm going to be sharing, this is being recorded, so you may want to, come back to it You know, write notes as we are going, you know, as you're going through it. So these are some of the important things that that are going to be important for me in my practice, and I want to bring it out to you for you to consider and think about for your own practice, right? So putting a plan together so you're going to have success, you want to pay attention to three areas. Number one is happy clients, right? Clients, that's like the biggest asset, one of the biggest assets in your business, in your practice, is happy clients. So the things you want to pay attention to is that client feels that they're in good hands from a place of, you know, from a place of professionalism and knowledge base. Yeah. So when the client's interacting with your team, with yourself, they've, you know, it's got to be top notch from a, you know, from a level of professionalism, the way you're communicating to them, the way you and your team are showing up to them, and then knowledge-based competence, having, you know, having the knowledge to do the best work for them. So what can you do in terms of professionalism in how you show up? Yeah, what are some of the things that you can do early on now before you get into tax season? And this could be a team meeting that you have, and get the people that are involved with you, who are interacting with clients, to really just brush up, right? You know, to brush up on these skills. So when it comes to professionalism, what are some of the important things, how, you know, that you want to communicate, right? You've been doing it for so many years. You're probably pretty damn good at what you do, you know, in terms of communicating to the client that they're in good hands. The attention, the words you use, right? The terminology, the scripting, you know, you do it from the place of, from a standpoint of what does a client want, right? What's going to make them feel that they're in good hands. So they want to work with the tax professional who's doing everything they can to help them pay the least in taxes. So make sure that that communication, that scripting, the verbiage is coming that tells the client that you're doing everything, you're thorough, you're diligent, you know this stuff. I mean, when I say you, meaning your team members, and that you're paying attention to everything that matters for them. So that's got to come out in communication, and you want to be intentional. Every communication has to have these trigger words that are important. You may be doing this already as a firm, but does the client know? And if the client doesn't know, then you're missing on that, on conveying that level of professionalism. So that's from a professionalism standpoint, is the kinds of things, the communication that you wanna have a meeting, you wanna let your team members know. From a knowledge base, what's important there? How do you get your team brushing up on knowledge, on preparing tax returns? Because that's predominantly what happens during tax season, is like this influx of tax returns, business, personal, and so forth. So how is everyone kept up to date on what's the latest? So you want to have, you know, you want to get your team members to read through the instruction booklets, the 1040 instruction booklets, each line item. What are the instructions? Yeah, people may know, but they may not know, right? And it's good to brush up on that. On your, if you've got state income tax, read up the instructions and spend a couple of hours between federal and state 1040s, between in partnership returns, S corp returns. Make sure that each person who is involved in that aspect of it is ready, is, you know, it's top of mind, it's fresh in their head, all the different stuff there, the newest change, the latest changes that happened last year. Everyone's well versed with that. So these are some of the things that you would get your team and yourself, you know, partaking in from a knowledge standpoint, right? So that was first thing when it comes to happy clients. Second thing is minimizing errors. You want to have the absolute minimum number of errors or no errors this tax season. How do you do that? How do you minimize them? You know, maybe it's a session with your team saying, hey, these are the common errors that we have made, we make, or preparers make when it comes to 1040s or S corps or partnerships or C corps or whatever, right? Have that conversation, have that training with them. We have that session with them where you go over those errors, so you minimize them. Another place where clients can get unhappy, so if we want happy clients, the way to we want to if there is going to be a fee increase for the client that is more substantial, you want to let the client know that in advance, right? So if a client's been paying you $750 and now the fee is $1,200, I mean, that's a pretty big jump, right? So before you start the return, you want to get on the phone with them, schedule, send an email, schedule a call, and then have the call and go over the stuff and say, based on this, the reason this is going to be your fee and the reason why, right? So avoid having a client surprised and creating a whole situation with, man, you never told me it's going to be this much. So that's something important. Warm reception, a warm exit when they're visiting, a follow-up after X number of days when they have the tax return. Something we're going to do, a follow-up to each and every client saying, hey, how was your experience of serving them? Anything we could have done better? Great opportunity to ask for a review, a testimonial, which should be on everyone's goals. This tax season is asking for that. Referrals, right? So having a designated person, they're doing other things, but that's one of the things they're doing as part of your 5-star service and happy clients is you've got that follow-up as well, right? Warm reception, warm exit, and then follow up after the tax return, after they've picked up the tax return in a few days, or maybe it's after the tax return's been e-filed, saying, hey, Mary, just want to let you know, tax return's been e-filed, went through, everything is great. Do you mind if I ask you a question, how your experience was working with us? So great opportunity to do that. Response times to emails and phone calls, right? Happy clients are clients that receive a response within a certain amount of time, right? So create a standard, a rule. If a client emails, phone calls, places a phone call before 3 p.m., they'll get a return, they'll get an acknowledgement that same day. If it's after 3 p.m., they'll get it they'll get it the next day before, say, 10 a.m., whatever it may be, but be reasonable in that it cannot wait for 2 days. Everything has to be, we need to acknowledge, right? Acknowledge the incoming phone call and so forth. Acknowledge, update, resolve, right? I've shared this 3-pronged formula with you. Acknowledge stuff that comes in. Hey, got your email, I'll come back to you. If you don't have the answer, you're coming back to them. And then acknowledge and then update them and then resolve the matter with their whatever it may be. So response times, important if you want to have happy clients. And yeah, so that's kind of the overview there from a happy client standpoint. Which one has resonated the most with you? So I want to bring it back here. I want to bring this conversation to you, and then we'll go into happy team and then the other 2 areas essentially. So happy clients, which one resonated the most with you? And you say, yeah, gotta do that. You gotta make sure. Which was the one most important one for you? Take a few seconds, type that in, please. All right, awesome, good. Let's have a quick conversation. I'm going to share with what folks have said. Brian says, when you're following, it's a question, having text teams sit through text, gear up CPE videos, good. So that's what Brian is doing in terms of updating his team. And if you do that, Brian, I would also want to meet with them and say, hey guys, what were the 5 most important things that you got? And if you've got a small team, that's the session you have with them, right? So it really forces people to watch a video and then to be able to discuss it, because when they discuss it is when it's really going to, they're going to internalize it for themselves. So good. And it puts you, it makes people accountable, right? You put people on the spot, it makes them accountable. Question from Brian, when you're following up with each client after the text returns, are you doing this by phone or email? Their preferred, I would start off with, if your client absolutely doesn't like phones, then I would do email. I'd do both. I'd do both, because that's where that personal connection is going to come with the phone, right? I'd do both when possible. And if you do phone, then you don't have to do the email if you've already spoken to them. If you do email, if you do phone, then that's good. If you're doing email, that works as well. But ideally, you want to try and do both. Like if you call them and you don't get them, then send the email, right? As a second thing. Hey, just left your message. Want to let you know text returns been, e-file acknowledgement received. So we're all good there. So great working with you. Would you mind, let's, whatever, right? However you follow it up. If you really want to talk to them, then schedule that. Hey, can we have a quick chat? Because when you talk to them is when you'll really find out how their experience was, and getting a referral, getting a review, and so forth. Mayumi says response time is very important and I'm working on it this year. Good. Patrick says response times, Ray, client follow-up. Follow-up meaning after they've picked up their return, having that person call them. Yep, good. Brian, the follow-up with clients after the taxes are filed. Super. Victor saying I'm fairly good at confirming receipt. Sometimes I do miss emails. So yeah, Victor, that's great. We kind of try not to do that, not to miss emails. I start there, like I'll start them, or my team members, will start emails that need a response. So try and do that. And then Victor, really look at your team as well, right? From a team standpoint. You said I'm fairly good at confirming receipt, meaning you as a person or you as a firm. So if it's you, then make sure your teams are all on board with that. Mayumi, can you say it again? Minimize errors, response times, and minimize errors, response times. Yeah, I don't know what the other one was. Minimize. I started off with saying clients are in good hands. So from a professionalism standpoint and then knowledge standpoint. Then he says warm reception, warm exit, and follow up email. Good. Jeanette, how are you? Says communication with clients is key. The more they're informed, the happier they will be. Correct. Yeah. Good. Awesome. Good stuff, guys. With that. Now it's important that you guys get it. You do get it. For I would say for the most part, you guys get it, right? I'm bringing it to you as an awareness, as a reminder to have this conversation with your team members, because you getting it is great, but your team members getting it is even better, right? So we want your team, everyone getting it, because there will be a point we want to grow your practice so that you're not involved in the operation preparation. You're not the one receiving the emails from the client. You're not preparing returns, right? You're going to escalate and out of that equation, but you need your team to be doing this in, day out, right? All right, good. Let's move on to happy employees, happy team members. So this is going to be a shorter list. Happy team members. The thing that causes frustration for team members is if they are bottlenecks and they're waiting, they're wasting time, they have unproductive time. So look at the workflow, how the information is flowing from start, where's my camera, to the end, right? So from the beginning till the end, what is their workflow? Look at it to make sure that there are no bottlenecks, and if they are, you're putting something in place, a system in place to overcome any bottlenecks, any slowdowns, anything that will slow it down. So an example of a bottleneck. An example of a bottleneck is if you're doing all the reviewing. Yeah, if you're like the reviewer and you've got like 10 other things you want to be doing, right? You're reviewing tax returns and you've got so many other things. You're working on the business and on the practice and so forth, right? So you're the bottleneck, right? All right, so how do we get you out of the review process, right? So that's kind of what you're looking at and saying, all right, how do I get out of the review process? I'm just giving an example, right? Can somebody else review it? And that's kind of what we did in my firm is we got Initor Global, the outsourced company, involved in the preparation. So my preparers became the reviewers, right? So that's how we escalated the whole thing, and I got out of the whole picture. Where I'm not, involved in preparation, reviewing, and anything there, right, in the operation side. So that's what you're looking at is bottlenecks. How do we prevent bottlenecks from happening so that team members are not waiting, they're not wasting time? I mean, not only, it affects operations and profitability, but also I'm talking to you here from an employee standpoint. What are the other bottlenecks? Are financial statements coming to the tax preparers? Are they complete? Do they have everything that the preparer needs? So they're not going to the client and, hey, I need this, or what's the breakdown here? They get a complete set of financial statements that is tax return, tax prep ready, right? So that could be a bottleneck where there's like, oh, I need to go back to the accountant or the bookkeeper or whoever, right? And ask for that stuff. It's inefficient. And that. So that's one. Bottlenecks can be frustrating, avoid that. Have the team members directly communicating with each team member. So then, people don't have to go through you. If somebody has a question with another team member, they go directly and they work it out, right? Team members, they're smart. Get them to be interacting and coming up with solutions collaboratively when they cannot figure it out on their own, instead of coming to you. And then the usual stuff would be weekly meetings, make sure, that happens during tax season. Lunches, have lunches every so often. That's just good stuff. People enjoy that. Breaks away the work and so forth. Appreciation, recognition, all that, in terms of happy employees, be sure to do that. Even everyone is working hard and recognize it, appreciate it sincerely, authentically, right? But do that. So that's happy team. All right, bringing it to you. What's the one thing that resonated with you that you want to do this? You want to make sure you do this tax season. So take a few seconds and share that, please. All right, hey, answers coming in. So let me share. What was the one thing that resonated with you in terms of having happy employees this coming tax season? Victor is asking a question. Salim, what was something that was key in separating you from the practice, not being involved as a reviewer? So as I'd said, I escalated my preparer to become the reviewer, and I got the preparation being done by an outsourced company. And so that's what, that's one way to do it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like, if you can get your current preparers to being the reviewers, that's great. Find people within your organization who can do the reviewing stuff. Patrick saying reducing bottlenecks, good. Look at your workflow and do that. Brian says being quicker at identifying bottlenecks and come up with quick resolutions to them. Absolutely. During tax season, yeah. And before tax season, Brian, what I'm suggesting is look at your workflow, map it out, step ones, all the steps that are happening from a 1040 side, from a business tax return side. And we're not looking at fancy software and all that stuff, just kind of on paper. Tax return information comes in, what happens step two, what happens after that, right? Get that flow down on paper and see where are potential problems, what are the potential slowdowns, right? Breakdowns. Mayumi says, I'll do the appreciation and delegate my review process to Douglas. Awesome, good. That makes sense. And Victor says, I think I'm making progress, but I see myself as a bottleneck in that I'm still the know-it-all, but we already have plans and action items to minimize that. Good, yeah, yep. Good, well said there. Patty's saying, turnover. Hello, Patty. Turn over as much of the client contact as possible to the staff to avoid the bottleneck. We were already planning on the staff reviewing that returns from Initor prior to the partner review. Excellent. Yeah, that's great. Really looking forward to you guys, kind of getting that in motion. You worked at it for the last, whatever, 6 months, 8 months, getting your team ready for it. So yeah, looking forward to you guys seeing success with that. Danny says, find and eliminate bottlenecks. Good, bottlenecks resonated with a few of you. So that's great, super. All right, let us move on to the third area, the last one. And then I'm gonna open up with wins and all that good stuff. So first was happy clients, now we're talking about happy employees. Third area we wanna talk about is from an operations standpoint. Happy you, yeah, I should have said happy you. Right, you got clients happy, we got employees happy, now we got to make you happy. Happy you. So happy you is what? Oh, sorry. Happy you is revenues. Yeah, revenues and profits. See what they were the last year, 19, 4 months, whatever, and revenues, profits, and then see what you want it to be in 2020, what the projected revenues and profits are for 2020. And then work backwards. So if you were 300,000 2019 and you want to be at 375,000 in 2020, $75,000 increase, where's that coming from? Where's that coming from? So what do you have going with new client intake, right? Make sure that that's all that's all happening. Your new client marketing efforts. Another thing that feeds into revenues and eventually profits is the fees you're charging your current clients. Plan out, know what that is, what that fee increase is. Any of your business client need increases, do that. Referrals and that, right? So everything to do with feeding your revenues, you're working on that. Part of feeding your revenues is retention, right? You can bring in 10 clients where you lose 7, not as good, 3, the net result. Let's get 10 clients in and not lose any. What do you need to do? What kind of a retention plan do you want to have in place so that you're not losing any clients, right? So there's no surprises. You're connecting with your clients on a regular basis. And this is something that I want really every one of you guys to do, is have X number of outreach calls to your business clients, to your best clients, right? Every week have 5, 7, 10 outreaches to your existing clients, and really just touching base with them, how things are. During coaching day, yeah, Mikkel or Sean, I think the other 2 guys that were there, but Mikkel said, right, Ford, ask your clients about family and occupation, recreation, their dreams, right? So include that conversation when you're doing the outreach, and that's part of your retention plan. You being part of that retention plan there. The other thing with operations is profit. Have, I think I talked about that. Have your profit from on a firm basis. What your profit was last year, what you want it to be this year. And the things that are feeding into your profits are keeping track of budgeted hours, actual hours for business tax returns, personal tax returns, right? Do that ahead of time. Have a budget plan per tax return, per project ahead of time. So if you're doing a tax return and it's going to be the fee is $1,500, like budget the number of hours that need to be spent by your team, right? And then track it against actual. So you're really looking at profitability and performance, team performance there as well, right? So good. From an operation standpoint, a happy you. Revenue, look at, a plan for revenues, everything that's feeding into revenues, a retention plan. You're looking at firm profit and profitability. From efficiency standpoint, bottlenecks, we talked about that. That feeds into your profitability. And tax returns, making each project, each tax return profitable. And the way to do that is to track budget versus actual. Part of operations is technology. Look at your technology, make sure everything is functioning well, all the interconnectivity is happening, printing and all that good stuff, right? That can be frustrating if it's not. And that's on the operation side, a happy you. But then also your lifestyle, part of a happy you is how many hours you're working in the course of a week. And so I want you to have a plan for that. How are you taking time out for yourself and when? So include that in the plan. Time to recharge yourself, time to just goof off, time to do nothing. Even during tax season, you want to incorporate that into the work week. Yeah, get as much work done through others so that you have time for yourself. You have time to work on your practice. You have time to think about May and June, and you're looking at growth and opportunities from that standpoint, because that's one of the hats that you wear, right? So we want you to be doing that as well, not to be totally absorbed in the here and now. And that's okay. You can be in the here and now, but what I'm saying is, do have time for yourself in the course of a week where you have some free time for yourself. Some thinking time, some time to recharge yourself. All right, what resonated the most with you with operations? A few more seconds for you guys to share the one or two things that resonated the most with you when it comes to operations and a happy you. All right. If you're typing in, I'm just going to start sharing. so we can get through the rest of the stuff I want to get through with this during this call. Patrick saying to grow revenues through outreach goals. Awesome, good. Revenues always follows. Whenever you're doing an outreach to existing clients, it's gonna come. You just have, enough. You got to do enough of that outreach stuff, and the money will follow. Brian says, being diligent about setting budget versus actual on each tax return will have office managers set budget more accurately this year. Awesome, good. And this is stuff, Brian, for the next 2 weeks. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen in the next 10 days or so. So let's, kind of work, within that timeline. Jeanette saying, watch your revenue and profits. Take time for yourself. Awesome, good. Patty saying, the importance of thinking about and planning for after taxes and keeping the taxes and revenue momentum going. Beautiful. Mayumi saying, time off and morning exercise. Good. Danny says, continue working on the business instead of in the business, even during tax season. Great, nice. Victor saying, we are budgeting better with engagement letters that are well thought out. And upfront pricing to set up budget for projects. Happy me is if I can take some time off and have enough energy to exercise regularly. Good, awesome, good stuff, guys. I hope this was useful. I wanted to really, I'm so determined that you guys, going into tax season, you're doing everything you can to prepare yourselves to have an awesome tax season, right? And preparation is key. And this is what this is about, right? Us having this conversation here and the notes you have taken, you'll have the recording here. This may be something you want to watch again. But I've given you some really, really important stuff that's going to enable you to have a successful tax season, looking at it from the 3 areas: happy clients, happy team, and happy you, right? 3rd area. All right, good. Let's move on. What are your wins? What's been, I'd love to hear from you. What's good stuff that's happened for you that you'd like to share? Accomplishments, wins, the last couple of weeks. Patrick, what's your niche? All right, here are the wins. Patrick saying, finally settled on a niche. Brian says, hired part-time admin assistant for tightening up systems, working great. Meeting a client tomorrow that I've been trying to get for 3 months, and finalizing deal will be $1,800 to $2,400 per month. Wow, that's great, man. Good stuff, Brian. Good stuff. Love that. Victor saying, win, we've hired a new admin assistant. We are hopeful. Great, good. I kind of remembered what you shared during coaching day about the previous one that was so pretty. Everyone's hanging out in our office. That was pretty funny. Victor saying, we have a few interesting resumes for bookkeepers. We'll start interviewing soon. Cool. Good, 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 good. Patty saying, received several referrals for new clients from existing clients. Wonderful. Mayumi says, I increased my fee 1 digit more. I want to see if I can still be more profitable. Awesome. Patrick saying, technology, SaaS companies. Wonderful, Patrick. So that's the niche that Patrick decided on. So good, 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 good. Awesome. Big opportunity there. Denny says, signed 3 new business monthly clients in the last 2 weeks, started sending out shock and awe package, have sent 2 and both signed up. Beautiful, nice, good stuff, man. Jeanette saying, made some progress on our website and email list. Awesome, good, wonderful, some good stuff, man. Everyone, yeah, you're making that progress forward. So no stagnation here with GP, with coaching members, that's for sure. You guys are moving in the right direction with taking action and forging forward. All right, so questions. What do you want to work? What are you looking to work on? What do you need help with? Right? Questions I can answer for you now in the next little while that we have. What are you planning to work on in the next week, in the next couple of weeks? What would be awesome for you to finish that you're working on, that you're like, wow, got it done. It feels good. What are those things? What do you want to check off that's on your 120-day action plan? What do you want to check off that we spoke about today for you to have a successful tax season? All right, let me share. What are your initiatives that you want to do? And there's some questions here as well that'll benefit everyone, I think. Victor, a question, okay. Victor saying, do you have a tax preparation checklist so that preparers can review their own work before it gets to me? 100%, yes. Victor, please send an email to Kimberly and copy me for a checklist for the preparer and a checklist for the reviewer, right? So we'll get that to you. And anyone else on the call here who wants it. Danny saying, fine tune the tax prep workflow. Great, good timing. Yeah. Patrick saying, proper pricing for my services. Yeah, awesome. That definitely with your niche technology and SaaS companies, get that going. Absolutely, makes sense. Maybe saying I'm not comfortable increasing too much of my fees, but I see some people leaving already. I feel uncomfortable. How can I go through this? So the question then comes about, Mayumi, is how are you communicating the fee, right? Fee is a function of value. And it's tough to communicate value via email. So, if this is happening to you, then you want to have a phone call with them and you want to make sure that it's scripted. You've got an outline where you're communicating value. People are not fee conscious, they are value conscious, right? They want value for the most part. I mean, there are some people that are fee conscious, but that's, a minority, number one. That's not too many there. And those are not the clients you want. Jeanette saying, I want to focus on improving turnaround time and getting the tax work in and out as quickly and efficiently as possible. Good. Yeah, totally with you. Ryan says, always get nervous this time of the year to see which tax clients are coming back. Sent out organizers, but haven't heard much from clients. Do you call clients soon to see if they're coming back, or how do you determine this? Well, we assume they're coming back, right, Brian? So, I want you to assume that they're all coming back. The question is when. So if your clients don't come by a certain date, you can have an outreach saying, hey, we haven't seen you. Before we get busy with the rush at the end, we'd love to have you come in so we can work with you, right? So I would use the deadline and the rush at the end to get them to move. And you know, yeah. So what we do is, you know, we want to get as many people as possible before February 28th, you know, because I don't want people, you know, as many people, let's get them done in February, because that's just going to be great. So we don't know, you know, not pushing people into March 15th, you've got the business deadline and so forth. So to get as many people to come in on March or before February, you know, we'll do the outreach and so forth, and we'll have gift cards. Yeah, we'll have, you know, everyone gets to pick a gift card if they are coming in before February, you know, February 28th, and I think it's an Amazon gift card or, you know, something like that. Yeah, Amex, Amazon, whatever. It doesn't, you know, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, whatever. Doesn't matter as much. You can have different denominations. You know, it's all in a basket, and they can pick one, right? And if it's mailing, you know, if they're sending in their information and they want the stuff in, then you mail the gift card to them. You do the picking for them from the basket, right? So there can be different denominations from $5 up to $20. So you can incentivize them to come in early, right? So you can consider that. All right, good. Anything else? Any questions? Anything I can help you with? Give you guys a few seconds, and then if there isn't, then we'll finish off. It's you know, 5 minutes to the hour or something of that sort. 7 minutes to the hour. Any questions? Anything else? If you're good, you can even type in saying I'm good, and then I'll know. And every Wednesday, you know, we have an office hours call. It's from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. essentially. If you know, if you'd like some help one-on-one, feel free to, you know, to jump on that call. You know, people have been, you know, there's a few people that have been taking me up on it, and that's fine. I mean, I've blocked it on my calendar. And so it starts at 2 p.m. and I'll be there to answer questions one-on-one. You know, as you come in, you know, you have a question, I'll unmute you, you ask the question, and I answer it, and it's kind of one by one, right? So, you know, so we kind of do that as well. So if you'd like help, not sure, want to do that. Hey, Brian, I remember you were there last week, and somebody else, Hiromi was there last week as well, and so forth. So yeah, that's 2 p.m. East Coast time. But just don't like come in at 3 p.m. because I won't hang out there, right? I'll be there at 2 p.m. I'll answer questions. People that need me, have questions, want to brainstorm, whatever, I'm there for you. Patty saying I'm good. Brian says good. Thank you for the info. Ray, good. Danny's good. Mayumi says I need to use procedure to use Initor. Who will send information or who will review? Can admin who does not prepare tax returns send information to Initor? Yeah, it's an admin thing. Mayumi, it's an admin thing, right? It's an admin person rather to send the information over to Initor to retrieve it back from them, and then it goes to the reviewer. Jeanette says, I'm good. Thanks, Salim. You're welcome. All right, guys. Any other questions before we finish off? And if not, we shall finish off. So thanks, guys, for jumping on this call. And good luck. I'm here if you need me. I'll be there at 2 p.m. if you need me. So good. Have a great day and rest of the week. Thanks for making this call. Appreciate you. And see you soon. All right.